Obviously, for say Kamia Kwese NPP for Ankasano. Omo inshede ni case omo ko filing against EC or koto because Newz BT news one of NPP MP ebisane say it's a case being pan amako file Mensa because the court cannot force the EC to declare an election result. Court ni said to me no, even the president or the executives ain't mean force EC say undeclare result. Ain't mean chair EC ni say undeclare a result in my way and as undeclare my way. EC nankasani autonomous or very very powerful. Unim said the way in a juma, lady Anis will be making sure say or provide a leader among the country, whether MP, assemblyman, or the elections. Nasa DB vote biano, nationally biano, lady Anis will provide a leader. It is a case na MPP for the court no. I'm sure not just say I'm sure we don't know what will happen. Now the thing is 19 polling stations na na ECCM koye Rerun no. NPP for say Mensa in the bid for the NDC. Now so no na NDC for stance and say 62 19. So if you say NDC MPP for can say in the bid of NDC and 62 mum in 19. So maybe more than 40 polling station a bed Babeka 19 on.
The EC's position is as a result of some pressure from the executive and the ruling party. And they are battling.
They cannot independently decide by themselves that because this issue remains unresolved after 7 months, this is a potent way and a fair way to resolve it. They can't do that. They must be under pressure by somebody to do that.
Yeah. There's a court order. Everyone I know that a court order, unless it is set aside.
Yes. You can't beyond that. We can't go
anything apart from comply.
Can we apply that in this circumstance? It says continue and complete collation.
Yes.
They say they have.
And there is an order.
They say they have.
Now, there is an order.
The court does not compel the EC to declare results.
If there is a default, the court cannot compel them.
Yes, so there's not a compulsion. There's no compulsion to declare results.
Then the power of the court to make an order for mandamus, very respectfully, will be meaningless.
Mandamus says that you're supposed to do some work. You haven't done it. Go and do it.
Do what is required of you by law. Mm-hmm. And it didn't end there. The court, in its wisdom, realizing that the EC cannot independently do that without the support of the security, made an order for the police to support them. Now the police has defaulted in the circumstance. Right? So EC consistently has shown its willingness, except to say that in the circumstance of this matter, the police is not ready, right, to help them. Okay? You think that the court cannot make further orders?
So
it can be enforced.
So you're going to court is to tell the court that there's something outstanding, there's an order that has not been complied with, therefore the elections cannot proceed.
You know that there are various ways of enforcing a court order. Right? There are various ways. I don't want to mention them unless somebody makes that the headline that NPP says it is going to do A, B, C, D. Our options are still clear to us. We are weighing them. We are going to do what they need for.
Yeah.
My understanding is that the NDC's position has always been that 62 polling stations need to be rerun, not 19. So if I find it difficult to jump to the conclusion that the EC is doing the NDC's bidding. Because if the EC were to do NDC's bidding, they'll be running 62 polling stations, not 19 polling stations.
Correct.
The EC's position has been that they want to finish collation because 3 were outstanding, right? But at the end of the day, what we are hearing is that, well, they managed to get pin sheets for 18 or whatever of 37 or something that was outstanding, and they can't get consensus on 19. And what they want to do is to rerun the 19. I hear Kofi say here that, well, if they rerun the election today, NDC is going to win. Which to me suggests that that is what the people want. If that's what the people want, then why not give them what they want?
But he spoke about the circumstances of the day of elections.
Yes, but
on the 7th of January.
It's the reason why we have by-elections. It's the reason why we have, anything can happen. In this instance, I was actually asking why can't they just go back to the ballot box and recount? And my understanding was that 2 weeks after the elections, the place the ballot boxes were kept got set on fire. This was 2 weeks into the election. The people in charge were the NPP. The NPP was in charge of this country at the time, 2 weeks after the election, when the ballot boxes got, bent. Are you then saying that the NDC were the ones that went to manipulate the police, got them out, and bent the place? You can't necessarily say that. And you can't also say that the NDC was in charge at that time. The NDC was in charge of this country at this time. For me, it also raises the issue of the integrity of the EC, especially, and also of the police.
You know what happens in by-elections? You finish on that point.
Okay.
They are clearly aware that this is how many polling stations? 19. As an incumbent government, he will take absolute domination and control of the place. If it is money, if it is whatever goodies, they will be provided. We know what happened in by-elections. The elections are literally bought.
We have an example in Judge Kwesin's constituency. We went for an election, the NDC won.
Maybe an outlier.
Election. So, the thing is, there is evidence to show that, it can actually happen, right? It's not an issue.
So talk about your police and...
Now, the issue with the EC and the police, right? From everything that I've heard here, it gives me a lot of concern, especially about the commissioners that we have at the EC. Both what the NPP is saying and what Kofi Bentil is actually saying here is that these EC commissioners lack integrity. That's what both of them are saying.
Yeah,
what both of them are saying.
Said that.
But that's the implication.
I haven't said.
You have said so.
That.
You have said so.
But I have said it.
You have said so in many words.
Listen, I have stated that in this instance, if I say you are not a man of integrity, right? It is an unchangeable verdict I've passed on you. But if you do something, and I say that in this instance, I think
relative to the situation.
That's right.
Okay.
But essentially what you're saying, and Nkrumah said, right, principle is indivisible, right? When you have principles, you stick to it. I believe that if they are people of principle, they would always stick to their points. And there are people that will not be influenced just by the threat of the loss of job. I will not be influenced by the threat of my job. Just because you say I might quit my job, then I do what I believe to be wrong. I will not do that. Now, if you're saying in this instance, the possible threat of loss of their job is why they are doing what they are saying, then you are basically saying they lack integrity, they don't have principle, and they don't stand by their principle. That's what you're saying, right? And that gives me concern, one, about the people at the helm of the EC at this stage, but also gives me concern about the sanctity of our political institutions, our state institutions, and what we need to do to ensure that we protect these state institutions.
All right. But remember, he says it was relative to the current circumstance and the issue. I'm a lawyer, I practice in the courtroom every day. I trust the judiciary, but I don't trust all of them.
All the time.
And there are certain times I can tell that there's wrong, which is not purely on basis of some principle.
But in that instance,
when situations may make you compromise just to broker peace, that would not or should not affect your integrity.
Okay, thank you. Vera.
So it's about peace.
Yes,
good.
Vera.
And if it's about peace, then that is what it's about peace. It's not about...
Okay, thank you. Let's go to Vera. Let's go to Vera now. Vera, you have the last laugh. What will be your final comment on this issue? Well, this is where we are. The EC's edict is what we go with. Until a court says otherwise and compels the EC otherwise, Friday, the 11th of July, elections will be held in these 19 polling stations.
Yes, so I think that the the dynamics have changed for a rerun, and so maybe I think the rerun may be helpful. It looks like most of them agree, both parties agree to rerun. Just the numbers that is from the conversation I'm hearing, it is either 3 or 19. So I think the EC
the NPP is opposed to a rerun. They don't agree.
All.
Yes, they're opposed to it. Except, but for just brought in a certain Glory Land hotel, which was part of the 3, which he feels should have been part even if there was a rerun. I think that is why you are saying they too may be amenable to a rerun.
Yes, okay, right. So, but for me, I think that the EC need to have a broader consultation, bring stakeholders on board. You see, when you have...
You mean the EC should suspend the decision it has taken now?
I think it will be helpful. You see, EC went to Parliament for how long, just came out and said they have decided to go back for rerun, and then there's even a date. I think it was the timelines and the way the whole communication
went. What will you, CDD, say about the EC if they got up today and said, oh, because of the concerns of this other party, we will not do the rerun, we want to do XYZ, then they are not in charge.
No, I think consensus building doesn't, you see, it's not, it doesn't mean you are not in charge.
7 months of consensus building.
Exactly why I thought that the EC's own inconsistencies were not helpful. And I thought that 7 months, if they were coming up, we should have a clear direction. And they should have been the first to go to court for direction instead of coming up with something for the NPP to go back to court.
But why do they go to court when they have the power to do what they have to do?
No, something, you see, they have the power, but why did the NPP go to court in the first place? These are issues that you don't just get using scanned copies to collect results. It's not in any of the procedure. It was built on consensus that let's use scanned copies. So if there are no consistencies with some of these arrangements, you only resort to 2 parties, and there were no issues when the party agreed.
So immediately when these parties in Domi, didn't they use scanned copies?
Exactly. That is
so what's the problem? They can use the scanned copies too as well.
But you see, that is also the inconsistency. Why are you using scan copy for others? When there's consensus, there are no issues, and then the parties agree. But when the parties do not agree, you have to get a direction from the court. It has matters than taking a decision. Why didn't they rerun Domi Kwabenya by use the scan copies?
Okay.
The parties agree to it. So consensus building is important, and the EC must, even if they are going to go for rerun, I think that they have to do a much consultation and communication around it, and not take it for granted that people can just mobilize. And it will be good, something to hear also from Ghana Police about this, that some assurance that they are ready to protect the system and not just allow this to happen. I really think the EC, most of issues, important issues, something have been resolved through IPAC, and they shouldn't just meet 2 parties, bring stakeholders on board, and the decisions, agreement at IPAC, we should find a very good way of documenting and getting the agreement signed, something binding. And this is something we've been calling that IPAC should be institutionalized. It shouldn't just be calling them and then what happens if the decisions at IPAC are not binding and parties are not signing to it. And I think they've done this for so long that EC should learn from this, that they go and agree to something and then a party comes and say we didn't and all of that. What's the evidence that they agreed to it? What's the recording?
No, in this case, there was a reason I read the whole of the press statement. The press statement didn't say they agreed. The press statement said they held a meeting on the back of a June meeting to try and reach some agreement. And the 2 parties stated clearly that their previous position was what they were standing by. And the EC says, eventually, this is what we have been able to verify. This is what we have not been able to verify through our officers. Our view is that there must be a solution, and the solution is a rerun. They haven't said that the 2 parties agree.
I think that is where we have an issue. Our view, you see, it's not just the EC's view. We have to have the parties agreeing to something. And now this is where it has gotten at.
But it's been 7 months. When will they agree? These 2 parties never really agree.
So you learn from the lessons that you don't meet 2 parties and say, based on this meeting, this is where we are going. Let's get everybody involved, get parties involved. If it's even have to stream again, whatever is happening for the public to know. Get some consensus. We have been doing this for some time, and we don't have to go beyond this year without any election run. And the EC should just change the way they are doing things.
Thank you, Vera. Thank you, Vera. Thank you, Vera.
When we were complaining about EC, the same NPP people derided us. Today, you see that problem is recurring and it's against them. We should not gloss over the fact that there's an institution which is sufficiently, given the powers to
okay, Kofi, thank you. Thank you very much. Vera, it has to be noted that you were seeking that if everybody is not agreeing and consensus is not working, the EC should rather go to court rather than proceed. So in law, there may be a difficulty that the EC, which is constitutionally empowered to do some work, and the two parties are disagreeing, the EC must go to court to get a certain order before it proceeds. No, I don't think it works that way. It has to use and assert its power and allow the two parties, if anyone disagrees, to go to court. It shouldn't be the other way around. I don't even know if they had to go to court, what are they going to ask for? They will not have a basis. The court will throw them out. We'll be right back.
Well, CTA Samson and then the guest in here, we will take it from Samson on a host na also or your lawyer or your outstanding lawyer or your lawyer ni kese pa it's in insomnia or me say we the whole court, whether High Court, Appeal Court, Supreme Court, or the court or the judiciary, they can't force the EC to declare result or say no they set that record straight. They can't force the EC to declare result. It is not in their mandate, or they don't have any power to control the EC to declare result. They can only compel the EC to finished unfinished a year collation, because at least 7 months, and I see we are getting into 7 months in just elections here the so, and they have been back and forth NPP for the court, EC court, compelling, and I say Air Force, and they say won't take actions about the Ablekuma, because we don't know the fate about the Ablekuma, and they have to get a representative in parliament. Boss Masari and the co-wasting case now, because you people waited for so long and there was no communication. Even though now man for Kawasama fine, but you people waited for so long. So if you people are coming back to give information about the fate of Ablekuma, and then any quite say baby say Mob sabe can we see no massa change mano. Boss Masari onye ni paketwa. You go to parliament to see say aka 3 outstanding polling station, 3 poll. Na ni na chikrampo, you people have the result. But you need the security, tight security, to finish the collation. And you people have been consistent about this case, and one solution, only tight security. Rerun, amount for raises some issue. Let's do rerun. Must they be done? They move here because you have the result. Move here security just to complete the coalition. And you come back to say that there be sadly no cray. I can't 90 mum because that scan sheet, a pin sheet in the one and you're authentic. How? So all the backlashes never is a result of you people now, because I'm one mama na the abamoso. Because as you speaking of, the opposition party is saying they are going to court for the court to force the EC to finish collating the 3 outstanding, or to stop the EC doing the rerun for DN, because the court can't force the EC to declare results. So you people are going to court for DN. That's why Samson Bisa Nana for says, so you people are going to court for DN, because the basis in also the EC can do 8 weeks. EC ni here more be EC not taking the actions and as in decision way. So you people going to court and it won't change everything, change if. And the conversation for also dying and say because the EC says no are changing our dream or run for how many polling stations? He say 19, fine. And another conversation the NPP for the banner say is because the government have autonomous power or forcing the EC to do things in favor of Omo. So if say the government force the EC to do their bid KB 62 Kenya 19 because already this government a move for can say a 62 even it's not 37 62 po and person run but Oma consider and Oma accepted that 37 no. So that conversation on Modibano see you says some near no credit that means almost 40 polling station about Becca A19 no. And also so the big grandpa no namu case in Bay West and people are asking say then these people must show because that's Rerun number no and you one candidate penebeko both candidates number ko no nyina mu di meba mu picture meba so why are you afraid? So the basis, the reason why these people are rejecting the EC actions to take a rerun won't say or they are afraid to say they will lose because that woman clear free or no NPP person or original NPP no she has been MP for so long and those people in Ablekuma no they don't know and they probably be aware the why I'm mama so maybe we should say if say there is a rerun even everything rerun grandpa just and go send back say subscribe and share my news